Britain's toilet inspector,
International strummers.
and the Fresh Prince of Bel-End.
All this and more on this week's episode of News Sensation.
Hello and welcome back to New Sensation, the show where we take you through the weirdest and wildest stories of the week that was. I'm Matty Curry.
I'm Chris Patel, and Matty, this week it's been the gift that keeps on giving. It's been Reform's big speech about getting 600,000 of those pesky migrants out of the country, upstaged by Taylor Swift getting engaged, upstaged by one cult hero from Liverpool, sadly passing away yesterday, who will not be mentioned any further on today's podcast. But let's go right back to basics. How are you, Matty?
You got it right. First of all, leading straight in with getting those pesky migrants out of the country is wild.
I think the
Um,
audience know by now
and
that
and Liverpool
you know
cult hero is stretching the
I,
truth
I
further than even we will.
yeah I do not I really do not want to go into this because it's very recent, but I think Cut Hero is appropriate. Time will tell.
Okay.
But, what I was trying to very roughly make the point that a week is a long time in the news, and sometimes nothing
Certainly
happens.
is.
Sometimes three buses all come at once. And we've got a lot of weird buses for the we're gonna bus weirdly on the people this week, Matty.
It's a bit of a Wenger bus, you know.
Is a bit of a Venga bus.
Everybody's coming, you know. It's bouncing
Yeah,
along, and
everybody's
like
jumping.
we're taking all the stops.
It's a little
It's
bit
all over the
Espanol
world.
this week.
See,
Sí, sí.
un
Claro,
poco, un
claro que sí.
poco.
Well, before my Spanish can fail us any further, I think we should get right into the news. What do you think, Matty?
I think we absolutely should get right into the news.
So, riddle for the day. What's the opposite of a redemption arc? Let's ask Will Smith, who's just been blasted for using AI in his promotional concert videos. So,
Oh,
on Will Smith's attempt to rehabilitate his public image, which has been sullied, he began the UK leg of his Based on a True Story tour in Scarborough on Sunday. That's right, Scarborough.
Scarborough.
Yeah. Which yeah, that was the question on everyone's lips. Scarborough. Yeah, he also went to Wolverhampton. So he's given a few lesser known, lesser visited
The
places.
shithole tour of the United Kingdom.
What are the coffers looking like that he's he's going to Wolverhampton?
It's desperate. It's desperate.
He really got into it though, to his credit. Ad-libbing on stage. I consider myself a Scarborough. And he also went to Cardiff, and on his Insta, he captioned his post, "Y'all are card different."
Oh, oh.
Um,
Has his spirit, has his soul changed since 1994? This is outrageous.
I think that that is the kind of energy that you might see from how Tom Brady's now sort of in charge at Birmingham City, and
Yes.
it's the kind of energy that Americans bring to English football leagues. It's very, I believe that we will win. Just the kind of deep American spirit that we can't help but just find so corny, even though it has
Hmm.
inspired. Well, they fought back in 1776, didn't they? So it probably wasn't corny then.
Hang on, hang on. What happened in 1812, Chris? All right.
The fact, so boom,
Boom.
linking up like Kobe and Shaq. Um, but this show, to his credit, I think, was a reminder that despite all the inexplicable nonsense that he's said and done, the slap first and foremost, and his kind of, well, I won't even really get into his relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith because I think that deserves its whole special.
The entanglement.
Yeah. He was and is very talented. Is there a ghost in your room, Matty?
I'm sorry. I don't know if I assume you can hear this. Obviously, I'm recording this in a hotel. There's a
Yeah.
stairwell that echoes like
What,
crazy.
did the
There's
wife kick
a,
you out?
there's a dog yapping like crazy right
Mm.
now. It
The
sounds
only
like Will
person,
Smith.
the only person you should be listening to yapping right now is me, Matty. Lock
So
in.
true.
But yeah, I think this tour does prove that he was and is very talented. He kicks off the set with three solid bangers. We'll ignore the fact that he does a cover of Doechie's Anxiety halfway through.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Um, the Guardian review of his Cardiff gig said that it hung together well, but there was a touch of David Brent, which I think, You can come to
Well,
expect that.
that's what this is.
Yeah.
David Brent would go on tours of Scarborough and Wolverhampton.
I'm
I'm a
coming up,
Scar
so you
brother.
better get this party started. Shamon. But the goodwill that the UK, or at least I, have towards the Fresh Prince has been offset by this tour video. So it contains obviously AI enhanced fans. Have you seen this video, Matty?
I have not seen this video,
We
but I'm
we will
terrified of what it will
we'll link
be.
it down below, but there's some shots that look real and some shots that are obviously enhanced by AI. They've got like blurred faces and six fingers holding different signs that, if they are AI generated, are absolutely egregious. So one of them says, "You can make it," which is a Will Smith song. "Help me survive cancer. Thanks, Will." It's like it, I'm, I'm sure that was a real sign, but wild if that was written by the marketing team.
If that's written by the marketing team, that's diabolical. But also, I should point out, I know that often we look for things like an extra finger in AI videos, which is less of a thing nowadays, I feel.
Mm.
Um, he was in Scarborough and Wolverhampton. Blurred faces, six fingers. I mean, are we sure that is AI?
Yes, it's weird this because he's kind of renowned for being this perfectionist. He even says that a pursuit of perfection, kind of drove him down a dark path. But he's let this go completely.
When has he ever achieved perfection?
Oh, don't say
Or
that to
come
him;
close to
he'll
it?
crash out. I mean, I
This is the
think
thing.
his career has been admirable. Like he's been in some great films. He's done great TV.
Yeah.
He's produced some great music. But yeah, I mean, it was the slap apocalypse, wasn't it? I guess at the end of the
It
day.
was. I mean, around this time, because we were talking about this as soon as you brought up the story, I was like, yeah, Will Smith and AI have a storied history.
They do.
From straight back to iRobot for sure. But
And I
his
mean,
usage of the
yeah,
AI video generating software for the spaghetti video haunts me.
exactly. I was gonna. So if you don't know about the spaghetti video, we'll link all this down below. But it's basically like the benchmark test for generative AI, isn't it? It's
Mm.
how well a AI can generate a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, and like now I reckon in 2 years we will not be able to tell the difference, which is very, very scary to say.
For
Um,
sure, for sure. We're getting to a point where it's starting to coalesce, but then it will also then pass that point.
mm,
I feel. I feel like when you then have like really high quality AI adverts like we're getting now,
yeah,
you still have the crappy ones underneath. And I think what it will do is sort of like with two tectonic plates, it's just going to cause a massive
you think
earthquake.
the crappy
And
AI
like
is going to be
AI will
learning off other
start.
crappy AI?
Exactly. AI, like, and it already is doing that. It's why everything's got like that weird piss filter over the top of it, where it's like
Yes.
AI, there's so much AI content that AI is starting to use AI to form its own content. And so if people start going, wow, this is really reliable, you're just going to get this awful amalgamation.
Yeah. And I was
But
also
yeah,
thinking, Will Smith he's like the epitome of an unk now. He's firmly in his uncle
he's
phase.
so,
What draws
yeah.
uncles to AI so much?
I think it's the thing is it draws in people who have always wanted to do X, Y, or Z, but never bothered to do
To
A, B,
learn
C
how
to
to do
get
it.
there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's a bit like I'm in Italy right now still. If you don't know. They love AI
Oh
over
my
here.
God.
Dude, it's everywhere. We're in
Really?
Naples. They had a bunch of AI posters for Napoli.
Oh.
But even like massive, you know how like eToro does their AI adverts? Everyone's got AI
Okay.
adverts here. I remember for like, was it the Euros or like the Olympics? And it was the Paris Olympics and advertising it. They had this terrible AI advert. And I think it's like it's because everything here is run by like the peak unks, where it's like they got their feet up half the time and they just sort of
Yeah.
like just generate that video because they might think that oh back in the day oh I had all these thoughts in my brain I was going to actually write this thing and you meet so many of these guys it's like I was going to write this thing yeah and it's going to be like crazy but I couldn't put it all together you know what
So
I mean I
interesting to hear
couldn't
about
like put the
Italy.
art together.
Because there's so much like natural, like it's the Renaissance, or the home of so much great art. It's bizarre that they would use that, and yet it does make sense.
It
Um,
does. Well, bear in mind the Renaissance happened, and it's called the Renaissance because they forgot how to do it. They forgot how to paint properly for centuries. And then someone went, let's probably revisit that. So we might then see in historical trends and now a new peak in Italian art at some point. They've just got to
Maybe.
lay off the generative AI.
I mean, something else from pop culture that's not AI generated, which I'll tell you about before letting Matty tell you about what I think is maybe my favorite story name of all time. Stay tuned for that. Is Taylor Swift's engagement announcement. And people have been poring over this. It was, I think it was well. I mean, obviously, I'm not, I'm not doubting the veracity of it like some people are. I'll tell you about them in a minute. But
Oh
it was
no.
very timed in a very kind of marketing-y sense. Like, it makes sense as part of a marketing campaign, the timing of the engagement.
Oh, for the new album.
Yes. And
Well, the thing is, as well, is that like it's hard to say because they did get engaged like a few weeks ago, and then they held on to the information to again kind of get it out in their own
that's a good point.
frame.
I
It's
I should
fine.
say yes, the engagement announcement, which of
Yeah.
course that's well within their rights to do. Some people online though, this is this has got people to crawl out of the woodwork. Some people online do not think so. Have you heard of Gaylor Swift, Matty?
I have indeed heard of the game of Midsommar.
It's it's the Taylor Swift subreddit where people try and read queer themes into Taylor Swift's life and art. Reading them into her art, fine, do what you want. I don't care. Maybe get a more fulfilling hobby. But there was someone who posted, "I can't believe this. This engagement might actually be real. If this is real, I might be hospitalized or worse." It's like, what? Who are these people? I've never met anybody like this.
I think one of my favorite quotes was it's like, if this is true, then I might have to face the fact that I never knew her at all. And it's like, yeah,
You
you
don't
didn't.
say.
You didn't know her at all. But
Yeah,
do
she
you
didn't
want,
come to Scarborough. She's not relatable.
she's not a Scarborough. But do you want to know who has definitely been to Scarborough at some point? And who I find to be my celebrity idol, who I read queer themes into their work. It's Britain's leading toilet inspector. That's right, Chris. When nature calls, you answer. But what if there's nowhere to go? A bear may shit in the woods, but the good twinks of the United Kingdom need their conveniences. Um, However, since the turn of the 21st century, we have seen a cataclysmic decline in access to public toilets. And one man who knows Britain's toilet crisis all too well is Raymond Martin. This is vintage local hero stuff for those familiar with my earlier work.
Yeah,
I
Matty
love this man.
Matty used to have a radio show in which he would play bangers and talk about local news stories. I mean, this one's close to my heart. Paying money at the Metrolink to use the loo. Utter woke nonsense.
Raymond is the managing director of the British Toilet Association, a voluntary role with pay for completing surveys
You'll
and
never sing that.
consultations. But besides that, completely voluntary. You'll never sing that. And now, one of the reasons you may find him carefully inspecting the nation's lavatories to appropriately grade them is to get a few coffers, but it's also because he loves it. While some might question why public toilets should strive for one of Raymond's five-star ratings, after all, they're just loos. Raymond's role in the BTA is primarily one about safety and accessibility, as part of his life's mission to address what has been the ignorances that threaten public health.
Ooh.
Now, his late wife suffered from an undiagnosed OTC deficiency, which, unless you're a medical expert like myself, basically means it affects how your body removes ammonia, which was kind of like interesting because this is way before he got involved in all of this and involved in public health around toilets. Um, but they left him as a single dad with a baby and another young daughter at a time when the last thing that you would find in men's toilets was a baby change table. It was the 1980s.
Mm.
But years later, he was one of the individuals who played a big role in ensuring that you then start to see that swing. Now, his awkward waits outside women's toilets 40 years ago, waiting for an opportunity to change his baby's nappy, at which point he said that women will sort of like crowd around and watch this sort of unbelievable sight of a dad changing a nappy. It was
Performative
just
baby
so
changing in public.
blown away.
He's got his labubu out and his matcha.
So performative, so performative. But it helped him to develop a keen eye for the shortcomings of these toilets. He spent the early 90s working for Keep Britain Tidy, eventually
Yeah.
recognized for his emphasis on looked after loos on public beaches, and leading to his joining the BTA in 2002. So, I mean, he's been doing this for about as long as we've been alive. Now, the team behind the toilet map of the UK's public loos, which you might be familiar with, they also wrote "We the People," spelled "we" as in,
That's
you
really
know.
good.
Um,
We the poople.
yeah, so the team behind that, Joe Bishard and Gail Ramsted, have estimated that since 2000, the UK has lost around 35% of its public toilets.
And that's
Now, in the
clumsy,
age of
mate.
it's terrible. It's insane. So in the age of austerity and the sort of slashing of council budgets, first things to go, lose, get them gone. After the COVID pandemic, most of them didn't reopen again, permanently shuttered. And so the leveling up and regeneration bill that came in after COVID, almost included a toilet czar, which is the funniest way of phrasing it. But believe it or not, this idea poo-pooed by the Tory government at the time. They wanted nothing to do with it. A direct quote: "Nobody wants to be the minister for poo. Nobody wants to be the toilet minister." But I can think of one man who does.
Westminster is so playground that you can imagine you can imagine that being an actual line of attack in the Commons. It's like the right honourable gentleman is nothing but the minister for poo.
But hey, stool is an important thing to understand in public health, guys. Come on. This is the thing, is it's like as much as this is all funny, you start to go, he's onto something now. Now, Raymond is the person I would put forward to be the toilet czar, our glorious toilet supreme leader. He has confessed to dreaming about toilets as he works towards bringing respectability to one of the nation's most vital public services. Now, he's met twice with Alex Norris, who's the Labour minister, and I can't believe he has all of these departments under one thing: building safety, fire, and local growth. That's a
Wow.
lot to take on.
And poo.
Um,
That's
and
pretty
poo.
good.
So, alongside representatives from disability groups and trade unions, Raymond went to go speak to him. And so, this is a potentially big step towards obligatory loos. But from supermarkets to spoons, Raymond will find himself in all sorts of public conveniences. His surveying skills thus go right down to the micro levels. He will notice things like the centimeters that affect a wheelchair user's experience when it comes to sitting down, the tightness of handrails, the size of a changing table, things that you don't notice until it's a problem. He tries to address before it's a problem. But
This
he also
reminds
considers
me
the
of a
macro.
of an Instagram page that I saw where they rate public toilets for how easy it is to do a line of cocaine in them, and they rate like rail height and everything. A slight
So,
sidebar from that: Maradona did a line of
uh-huh.
coke in the Vatican bathroom, so
Of
surely
course
that
he did.
would have gone to the top of the rankings. But I don't know if the toilet inspector would like
I
that very
saw
much.
I, I saw so many great saintly Maradona sort of like spray paints and murals and things. So I was on Naples. Like this is there's so many
Yeah,
incredible
he's
things.
revered. Like I think Raymond Martin should be revered in this country.
I think he should too. Now, in his interview with The Guardian, he suggested something that I think is absolutely brilliant,
Oh yeah.
where he spoke about public toilets that are sort of council funded, and he went, a good way to get around the cost and to sort of split it is to stick them onto the back of things like cafes, tourism information centers. And then he said that one place he stuck it on the back of a gallery, like an art
Oh.
gallery. And so what it does is it means that the rent from that is paid off by that business offsets the price of having to lose there, and then it's just about supplying enough funding for upkeep. And it's like, oh, that's great because in Raymond's view, what you should be looking at with these toilets is free, open all hours, unisex toilets with all the amenities that provide essential services. Whether that's like a shelf to change a colostomy
Hmm.
bag, which is something you rarely find in the toilet,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it'd be great to do a line of coke off of, or
Do a bag
or
off.
sanitary bins. Because he was also one of the people who
Yeah.
got sanitary bins into men's toilets as well. This guy's
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's looking at how we can take these massive steps forward. Now, Raymond's little brown book as our glorious supreme leader may
Supreme
carry
shifter.
supposedly utopian ideas of the future of Britain's public loos. But his work and the work of many others has already changed the landscape of accessibility and safety, as Raymond has himself experienced, going from the age where you couldn't find a changing table in a men's bathroom to now then being a bit more widespread. And also the new shift towards the more accessibility of things like unisex cubicles. So as he said himself, people will laugh when they find out he travels the country doing toilet inspections. But in his words, they then immediately say, I'll tell you where I was, and they had a wonderful lose. Whether we are conscious of it or not, Chris, we all give a shit.
I certainly give a shit. He reminds me of, in that are laughing at him, but he's doing something important. He reminds me of the Condom King in, I can't remember exactly where in Africa it is. I'll put it down below. But he travels around Africa, giving out free condoms because AIDS obviously is a massive problem in Africa, partly because of colonialism and, or well, largely because of colonialism and abstinence-based sex education, which, no one's going to stop shagging and no one's going to stop using toilets. So you may as well make them safe.
Make them safe, exactly. And I think what's really important as well is that people don't realize this. A lot of toilets have like sharps disposals bins as well,
Mm.
and that's to ensure that if people are going to go in and use public toilets for things they probably shouldn't, or whatever happens, you can get rid of it. And it's
Yeah,
nothing you would have considered being there, but it's there. Now, I think this is going to be the pivot of a lifetime. Because going from Raymond,
ready.
who is our supreme leader, our glorious toilet czar, we're now pivoting to a much different
A
situation.
much more
Uh,
honorable leader. Wait.
our honorable leader, well, we pivot. We pivot instead to the man who I think is Venezuela's greatest export. Yes, we're talking about El Sistema, the music education system of Venezuela. But we're also talking about gigs. I think it's a golden rule. Always watch the opener. And if you're headed to one of Coldplay's gigs that are currently ongoing as part of their record-breaking Wembley Stadium sort of residency, you will get the chance to see a classical music rock star, perhaps its only rock star, lead one of the most awe-inspiring orchestras in the world. And it's all thanks to a government program in one of the world's most tense and controversial political landscapes. There's a lot going on. In a week where Trump's America has sent warships in the direction of Venezuela, stopping in Trinidad and Tobago, a country whose leader they accused of narco terrorism, which is a pretty big thing to label a leader of another nation. While the nation itself forms a militia and sends troops in their thousands to the Colombian border, the Simon Bolivar Orchestra will be sharing the Wembley stage with one of the biggest bands in the world.
I can't
Now,
believe that they kicked Dick Van Dyke off the of the opener roster. Was he were his joints getting a bit creaky?
who's saying that Dick Van Dyke can't do a collaboration with the Simon Bolivar
He can do
Orchestra? Come
a
on.
mean job on second violin, I think.
I reckon he could. Just get him in El Sistema,
Yeah.
have him drive down to Caracas. Now, look, like I said, it is all a lot to take in, warships and sanctions and oil fields and all these different things that are currently ongoing.
Welcome to
But
New Sensation.
welcome to New Sensation. But since the founding of the Fundación Musical Simón Bolívar, or as it's better known, El Sistema, back in 1975, we've seen the start of a lot of very small stories that make this big one possible. Generations of Venezuelan children have been given the opportunity to become highly trained musicians through free music education nationwide. Now, out of this program came not only the orchestra, initially as the nation's highest youth orchestra, before what you basically saw was it merged into a marquee collective across all age groups as members continue to stay on. But you also saw the emergence of some of the nation's biggest stars. Now, both El Sistema and the orchestra were founded by a man named Jose Antonio Abreu, and it has been led since 1999 by one of his pupils, Gustavo Dudamel, who I
Yes,
adore so much.
another enterprising Gus from Latin America.
It's so true. Now, as the musical director of the LA Philharmonic, although I don't know if he's been to New Mexico recently, but and founder of Youth Orchestra Los Angeles, and soon to be the first Latin American to MD the New York Philharmonic, the nation's oldest
That's
philharmonic
big.
orchestra. It's not unreasonable to suggest that Dudamel is Venezuela's greatest export, well, since Bolivar.
Since Salomon Rondon.
Well, okay, Salomon Rondon, West Brom cult hero. So you've got a bit of respect between the two. You don't need to
Yeah,
compare,
just
just
enjoy
enjoy
him, man.
them.
Just enjoy him.
Just enjoy them. But Dudamel doesn't become a seven-time Grammy Award winner, and certainly doesn't establish Yola, that youth orchestra in Los Angeles I was talking about, without El Sistema. Now, this is the theme of the orchestra more broadly. Patricia Mendonça doesn't get to leave the small town of Barquisimeto, which is also Dudamel's hometown, where it's said there's an instrument in every house, to play violin alongside one of her favorite bands without the 8-hour bus trips to Caracas as a young girl
Oh,
with her mother. and broadly El Sistema. Fellow violinist Humberto Jimenez, who will play alongside her in the violin section, having also made weekly 6 hour pilgrimages to Caracas as a child, follows a similar story. Now, Mendonça told the BBC, it gave me everything, my whole life, I think. It gives me motivation. And she's saying it gives her everything. She is also a master's holder in something, I can't remember what, is a
Right.
chef and is doing all of this having given birth about a year ago. So
It's just a way to make me feel bad about myself, Matty. I'm sitting in my in my own house with a Hawaiian shirt on.
yeah, at least I have the excuse of being hot as hell over here. But now this is why all these stories is why Dudamel continues to be involved with El Sistema. Not only at its highest level, but also teaching young people. But this has come in the face of backlash. Despite being 50 years old this year, the program is still, in the eyes of many, inextricably tied to the current government funding it. And thus, someone like Dudamel is painted as a puppet. Now, Dudamel, being one of the world's most recognizable conductors, if not the most, isn't at the table when the government barters oil deals with China, nor is he involved at all the elections that which the US claim have some dubious levels of providence. You should, I mean, okay, I say all this. You should take everything the US says about Latin America with a massive pinch of salt. If you just look historically, if we look back at the 50 years of El Sistema, within that time alone, there's plenty of behavior. But Dudamel isn't involved in any of this. His commitment is to the kids who, like himself, are trying to find a way through music. He says it's difficult because everybody's screaming, but we need more of these programs that motivate you to find the best of people. For me, the most important thing is that this new generation has the opportunities that I had. He's not shutting the door behind him. He wants to keep it open. And in 2017, he actually criticized the government in the wake of the death of an 18-year-old musician at a rally in Caracas, one that was sparked by outrage at the Supreme Court's attempts to take over the powers of the opposition-controlled National Assembly. Now, Trump can criticize all this, sound straight out of the MAGA playbook.
People are
But all
saying they want a dictator. I don't want a dictator.
maybe they want a dictator. Now, this is all happening, of course, amid hyperinflation and an oil exporting crisis. So Dudamel had to come out with some strong words. And he said, we must stop ignoring the just cry of people suffocated by an intolerable crisis. No ideology can go beyond the common good. Politics must be exercised from conscience. And he urged Maduro, the president, to listen to the voice of the Venezuelan people and to create a system where we can talk freely in dissent, in respect, in tolerance, and in dialogue. Nothing can justify the bloodshed. Now, after these comments, it would be 6 years before Dudamel would return to Venezuela. And he went straight back to his hometown, where he hadn't been for 11 years. And he was saying on, to listen to his Desert Island Disc, which I would highly recommend if you got the time after the show, the emotions that ran through all of that. But while he was in exile as sort of a persona non grata, he did retain his position as El Sistema's MD and continued to teach young people while in America, who this included not only in Yola, but still back home in Venezuela. Now, he is one of more than 3 million people to have passed through El Sistema since its inception. Almost a million will watch the orchestra play Wembley. It all comes after a decade of working with Chris Martin, who Dudamel praises for his will to help, to heal, and transform. And of their latest venture together, he said, I think he wanted to give something to the orchestra. A gift, a very generous gift, of having all of us together celebrating the power of music. It's a way to represent my country, and in my particular case, it's a way to give hope to all the children I've had the opportunity to teach. He's immense, he's great, and he's got wonderful taste in not only music, but books as well. The book he's taken to the desert island is over on the sort of desk in the corner after I finished reading it this holiday. Go and listen to everything Dudamel's ever said and done, and read 100 Years of Solitude. With that, Chris, I want to hear about air guitars.
Well, if you thought last week's Robot Olympics was weird, try this week's Air Guitar World Championships. So, this contest has taken place in Oulu, Finland, every year since 1996. And Finland, it's the place of a lot of weird world championships. We've got wife carrying world championship, takes place in Finland, tree hugging, mobile phone throwing, and of course, the World Sauna Championships. Have you ever been in it? You seem like a sauna guy.
I've never been in a sauna.
You seem like a
I
a towel snapper in the sauna.
whoosh, I would love to be a sauna guy. I think that's my 60s.
I think, yeah. How old are you going to look in your 60? No, no,
Like a prune.
you've the slogan of the Air Guitar World Championships, you can't hold a gun while you play the air guitar. To which I say,
So true.
you can.
You
Air gun,
can.
air guitar. Yeah, if that's not an air Kalashnikov, I don't know what is. They also rent out air guitarists for a whole host of events, from a spellbinding show to a seminar speech on self-expression. So, what could you? It sounds like you might like even be able to hire them for like AA meetings or like funerals.
Oh
Oh.
dear.
There are national championships in 8 countries, not including the UK, unfortunately.
I
Although we
know what
have,
we're doing next summer. That
yes,
can't.
sir. Well, we're gonna move to Belgium and enter the national championship. No, we have had winners in the past actually, because there's national championships, and the winners of those national championships go through to the final as well, automatically qualify, as well as the defending champion from last year. And then there's a dark horses competition, which
Ooh.
decides on the remaining spots, and they are the guitarists in that guitarists are nominated by national organizations, and there's also open calls. So we could, to be fair, we could be the first double act.
Oh, double hectare, and
The
we just
strummers.
with the
The Detroit
double strum.
Strummers? No. The Manchester Strum. The Manchester Strum. It's like the hockey team. There we
The
go.
storm.
Yeah, but Storm, Strum.
Strum. Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah.
Very good. You
I'm
got
sure they
there in
would
the
love that.
end. And the final is 2 hours long. Contestants are it's not a 2 hour long performance. That would be crazy. Contestants
Oh,
are judged on the performance of two songs in two separate rounds, um, each lasting 60 seconds. And props and costumes are allowed and encouraged, actually, I think. But backup bands and real instruments are obviously forbidden. And they get their judging system, Matty, from figure skating. So they are
oh,
they are judged by a panel on performance, originality, and airness, which is the most undefinable, subjective criterion of the three. It's a bit like
yeah.
presentation in figure skating. It basically means, does the performance transcend the imitation of the real guitar to become an art form in and of itself?
I mean, well, the question is, what's the Iron Lotus of the air guitar world?
Oh, the is Iron Lotus? Who is Iron Lotus? Tell me.
For all you fans of sort of mid 2000s comedies, the Iron Lotus is the famously dangerous maneuver from Blades of Glory
Oh,
that kills a North Korean figure skater in by decapitation. I'm just wondering what would be the the
well,
air guitar.
we are actually gonna. There's some dangerous stunts that have been attempted later. One that springs to mind
Oh,
right now: somebody hanging upside down by their knees from a drain pipe.
oh,
He ain't got one
that,
song where he needs to be doing all that.
that's very Eddie Vedder when he climbed up the scaffolding to go get the mic and then sort of
Mm.
rappelled down on the mic cord.
Oh yeah, that's it's it. I want to go to one of these. I was one guitarist, Nordic Thunder. What a name! It also sounds like one of those far right Twitter accounts. One one guitarist said, "Artness is when everything just kind of swirls together and aligns, and you expose a bit of your soul."
Oh,
That's very
that's quite
nice.
sweet.
My
Oh,
favorite
little
name from
Nordic
this year,
Thunder. You expose a little bit of your soul.
yeah.
No, bye
Um,
bye.
slightly less family friendly. My favorite name from this year is Frances Mathilde Dola, who goes by Clitoriff.
Why was not that the headline?
Yeah,
Ah.
Clitoriff. No, I'll do a bit of cut and pasting. The top two though were tied after 2 rounds, so they went to an air off, and it was won by Apo Rautio from Finland. And I've got to say, if you watch clips of him, we'll link some down below. He is good. Some of them
Right.
were shit. Where's the airness, man?
Where's the earners,
That's what I
dog?
want to
You
see.
can't do earners in there.
So it's held every year in Finland, and this marks Finland's first victory in 25 years. So they won the first 5 contests and then haven't won since 2000 until this year. If you're looking at your script, Matty, we'll link this photo of him down below. Here's Apo Rautio.
He's upside down.
He's is he?
Is he?
No.
It looks it. It
Also,
looks like gravity is working his face away from the rest of his body.
no, he's just like a really experienced gurner. Also, that
Ah.
my printers managed to magic a black pole right in the middle of the image, which looks like he's holding a real guitar. It's like a reverse vampire as fraud's been captured on screen. Speaking of past contests and crazy names, the 2003 winner C. Diddy catches my eye.
Oh no.
Oh, like milk, Matty.
It's
Like
rash.
milk. So the history of this great sport, I went over the history of the great sport of cheese rolling back in the day. If you're a
Mhm.
loyal listener, in episode 3, go back and check that out. And now it's the history of air guitar. So some experts trace air guitar back to when Jimi Hendrix couldn't afford a real guitar and honed his skills using a broom. That's a real crazy Jimi Hendrix experience. I mean, that's even more than these guys have. But in 1989, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the movie, thrust air guitar into the spotlight. One of the legends of the scene, Matt Burns, aka Matty, you're bursting to say something there.
I was going to say, I think people also overlook Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure, which I remember more from my youth as being quite scarring.
Is
But
that the sequel?
continue.
Is
It's
that
a sequel, yeah.
the sequel, the squeakle?
The
One of
Squeakquel.
the one of the legends of the scene, Matt Burns, aka Aristotle, um, he he calls it one third comedy show, one third concert, one third sporting event, and also a drag show for frat bros.
I mean, this sounds like a great night out for me.
That's yeah. I mean that's peak Eminem, that a drag show for frat bros. There's also the US Air Guitar Championship, which was kind of born out of a rivalry with the Worlds, at which people have performed pregnant, and one man's even lost a toe.
How?
I don't know. I have no idea. How I don't even conceivably know with probably the safest like sport ever because there's no that all the hazards are air hazards. It's
Yeah,
like
but I mean, these people are reckless, all in the pursuit of the perfect airness.
these people are crazy. I mean, it gets even more dangerous than that. So in 2022, an American won a free drink in an air guitar competition while on a cruise. This was a construction worker from Alabama, enjoying some kind of hard-earned rest. But
Hmm.
that was his last memory before he woke up overboard in the Gulf of Mexico without the ship in sight. Yes, it had turned into an airship. And he treaded water for 18 hours and was stung by 2 swarms of jellyfish all over his legs and arms before being rescued. Air guitar is
God, the
dangerous.
dangers of air guitar.
They say you can't
That's
hold a
a
gun while you
dangerous
do air
sport.
guitar. You should be able to because there's lots of dangers. Fight off the
Defend off the
jellyfish.
jellyfish, yeah.
I think a gun would also be quite useless against a jellyfish. I
Well,
I can imagine it going straight
don't
through if
know if you
if I
don't try.
can. Yeah,
The old method's dynamite, so
very true.
maybe that's the loophole around the no gun. Just carry around a string of dynamite for your act.
TNT this week, Matty. Travis and Taylor.
Oh,
You know how
go
to ball.
on.
I know Aristotle. But like I said earlier, Matty, the contest organizers believe you can't hold a gun while you play the air guitar. And they believe wars will end, climate change will stop, and all bad things will vanish when all the people in the world play the air guitar. And that's why at the end of every contest, the audience join together and perform an air guitar chorus.
That's actually quite beautiful, to be honest. That's
It-
glorious.
we've
We've
gone
got to get on this.
we've gone
I think.
heartwarming with this week's theme. We've got heartwarming, weird, and very musical.
Well, this one kind of it only really captures one of those three, and we're going to find out very quickly which one of those three it is. Because Chris, we all know the old lie: "Dolce decorum est" to catch them all. Pokemon fans have become the subject of ire in Japan recently. This is why we can't have nice things. All
No.
right, as my old form tutor used to say, almost daily.
Well, they banned it
Uh,
in my primary school.
what Pokemon?
Yeah.
But and I'll see why. Because I
The
mean,
invisible hand of market forces.
but look, basically, what has happened is that controversy has struck McDonald's franchises across Japan after a Pokemon Happy Meal fiasco,
Oh God.
which again sounds like a great night out. The The happy sets, as they're called in Japan, I had to emphasize that, knowing your dirty brain.
SECS, yeah.
SETS, yes. Featured a toy, e.g., a tiny little plastic Pikachu, and a Pokemon card, as you would expect from a Pokemon Happy Meal. And anyone who has been around the internet over the last decade might know where this is going next, because the set sold out in a day as scalpers bought up the stock and discarded the food, leaving mounds of Mackies on the streets. Now, temporarily, the most feral franchise in the world wasn't on Oxford Road, as large crowds flocked to the Japanese stores in hopes of major profit. But Oxford Road Mackey's is a crazy place.
Is it absolutely what could they hand out that would be the equivalent of Pokemon like Pokemon meals at Oxford Road Mackies?
It, if Oxford Road Mackey's, when they're
Stony.
selling all like the Oasis bucket hats around Manchester, yeah,
Yeah.
well, Stony, but like all the Oasis Adidas partnerships, if they like either that or like Drama Collective, if they did like a Drama Collective McDonald's collab, it would be insane.
Subway's
It'd be
new
absolutely
promo,
insane.
you've got to roll with it.
No, yeah,
There we
it's good.
go.
It's good. Person department. Basically, the gold rush is evident when you look at the resale markets, right? Because cards found in £2.50 happy sets were going for hundreds of pounds. I mean, the equivalent, we're talking in yen here, but hundreds of pounds on the resale market, with one Pikachu card listed at over £25,000.
Wow. Shiny?
Wow. I don't even know. I think it was because they were unique to these happy sets. And that's the
Mm.
problem. You can't release unique cards into that market.
No.
It goes nuts. Now, McDonald's Japan said the situation goes against our long-time philosophy that we have cherished as a restaurant to offer a fun dining experience for children and families. We sincerely accept that our preparations had not been adequate. You could say that again.
And I love Japanese apologies. Yeah, when the trains are late and the conductor apologizes to all the passengers. None of that
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
UK.
yeah. Although, I mean, they're saying all this. Is this like a full bow? Is this like a sort of half bow? Is this like 90 degrees or like 45 degrees? Because I think Larry David happened to something very
They did not
interesting when he
respect you at
discussed.
all.
Now, online resales have targeted campaigns like this before, with the Chikawa collaboration being notable, but they paled in comparison. In the aftermath of the Pokemon promo, McDonald's Japan cancelled a planned One Piece Happy Set release, which now we've got to go out and find because the One Piece is apparently real.
I know very
And they
little about
are
the One Piece apart from it's like the longest show ever, and for some reason
pretty
people go
much.
crazy about it.
It's ridiculously in depth. I know a lot of people who love One Piece to the point that I've had many a late night in a pub having One Piece explained to me. Um, they are also set to impose a cap on the number of happy sets bought by customers. Again, this is why we can't have nice things.
Hmm.
Now, this hellscape comes not long after the Pokemon card collecting community was rocked by one of its biggest scandals.
Oh.
Now, the rise in popularity of collecting, which extends far beyond just Pokemon cards, I mean, baseball cards, basketball cards, all sorts of different things, has created a market built on trust and a commitment to rigid certification protocols. Oh, so sexy and exciting. But
Oh.
wait,
Raymond
what
Martin out here.
happens when what happens when something so rare hits the market that even the most trusted verifiers aren't sure where the lines can be drawn? Well, it comes down not to the lines, but to dots. Because in 2022, Takumi Akabane, one of the original Pokemon developers, announced the existence of prototype cards from the mid 90s that were used to test the gameplay experience. Now, this announcement was followed by a series of cards appearing online claiming to be said prototypes.
Hmm.
And at first, there was skepticism. But then CGC, the most trusted certification company in North America, the ones who put them in those little sealed
Oh,
plastic
yeah, I've
things,
seen them.
and it's like, oh, it's like it's a 10, it's an 8, it's whatever. Gave provenance to card after card. And this was until people started to wonder if they're just prototypes, why are there so many? Now, Scott Mastromateo found the answer after someone on the Elite Forum or E4 collectors chat suggested he check the card's printer metadata, Wow. Now, this whole story is insane, and in researching it, and if you again, a bit like if you want to learn more about Dudamel, go listen to Desert Island Discs. Get into the rabbit hole of this story and learn about printer metadata in your own time.
At your
But
peril.
look, at your peril, we don't have time. Chris doesn't have the patience for it. So here's the rundown. Using microscopic dots on the back of the cards, as well as a seemingly repeated hair fragment that implied photocopying, he was able to track exactly when the cards were printed. And Mastro Mateo's had been printed in 2024, not the mid 90s, in case you were wondering.
Oh.
But others in Australia were from 1996. So what you had was some of these verified cards being legit and others not.
So was
It was a
CGC
massive
verifying them
process.
all? Like
Yeah, well,
even
a
saying
lot
that
of it,
the
yeah,
new
yeah,
ones
yeah.
were legit.
So some of the verified ones were printed in 2024.
So
It was
CGC has
a
fallen off.
scandal. CGC fell off. Well, and this was the thing was that a lot of people were saying, well, how did you verify these if it's then coming out that they weren't legitimate? And it's because how do you verify a prototype? It's going to be like, oh, you look for something slapdash, looking for something whatever. It's like, yeah, but everything's going to be that way. You don't know what the rules are. And this was until they found out the printer metadata. Now, these cards, much like the Pikachu cards from Mackey's, were being listed for thousands, with some putting hundreds of thousands. One guy who I think was like a software developer or engineer in New York spent 500,000 when these prototypes dropped.
Whoa.
Yeah. Um, because these were believed to be the rarest and most intriguing set of cards to ever hit the market related to Pokemon. Older than the first cards, this is the prehistory of Pokemon. It's staggering, and the fact that some of them were legitimate only increases the intrigue. But look, if you or someone you know is part of this world, built on the most precarious bonds of trust that can unravel in the most fittingly nerdy way possible, remember, don't litter. McDonald's Japan hates you.
I'm thinking what we could make the limited edition new sensation item. I think maybe the
You
8 millimeter
should.
film of the trial episode. The
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 Zapruder tape from the trial
the
episode.
first trial episode I reckon would go for maybe four figures. Second trial episode, we're in the millions because that was actually golden. And I wish we released that in
Oh
hindsight.
yeah,
It was it was vintage. Maybe we
that
will
was
one
that
day.
was
Get
maybe
if we
one day.
get
I mean,
to
the trial episode that really kicked it off. I mean, the prehistory of the show.
how many likes are we getting on this video and we're releasing the trial episode, Matty?
10. No, no.
10 likes, unprecedented.
No, if we can get 1,000 likes in this video, we'll
Yeah.
drop
Then
a
I'll
comment.
do a face reveal and yeah, I've been Hannibal lecturing it up. But here's for our final story, here's something a little different for you. Um, close your eyes. I shouldn't close mine, otherwise I can't read the script. We're going to take a little trip to a breezy beach on the shores of Florida. We're a few hours ahead of sunset. There's cannabis in the air, and a toddler who's smoking the cannabis is building a sandcastle. And slowly, spontaneously, 400 people start to gather in a car park behind the beach. Slowly, they slope onto the beach and sit in a circle around a spiked stick in the sand. There are lots of different people, some tourists, some locals, and with them they bring lots of drums. And all of a sudden, the symphony rises out of the sand. People beating drums, buckets, pots, pans, playing xylophones, saxophones. One person scrapes his textured metal necktie like a washboard. The chorus rises. People howl like wolves, dancing and leaping like martial artists. And then it stops. Open your eyes, Matty. Harmless? Think again. This is the story of the drum circle that brought a Florida police department to its knees. Intrigued?
Yeah, of course, I'm intrigued. I mean, that was quite terrifying, to be honest with you.
Well, that city, Matty, is Treasure Island. Yes, that's his real name. Um,
Sick.
located on the Gulf of America, Matty Ragebait.
No, stop, stop, stop.
And in May, Treasure Island Police Chief John Barkley brought up the drum circle at a city commission meeting, calling it a serious problem. He said that the circle, which takes place every Sunday, drew people who disregarded anti-smoking rules, rules against bringing dogs onto the beach and selling things without a permit. This is a peak local hero again. We're
This is.
going back to your roots. But he said, I've seen this grow. The incidents that I've seen since I've been chief include and are not limited to sexual assault, rampant drug use, and Marchman acts. Which, if you're not familiar, I didn't know what a Marchman act was until I researched this episode. It's when somebody gets too drunk that they can't take care of themselves, and are a danger to others. So if like somebody's drunk and disorderly, you put them in custody under the Marchman Act.
We know some serious March acts.
Yeah.
We serial offenders.
Yeah, I remember being at a house party once when we were both in school and somebody was paralytic and he was posted like a letter out of the window.
I do remember that as well.
Yeah,
Oh, that was so
yeah,
poor.
he left in an ambulance. But he said there aren't enough officers in Tiny Treasure Island to safely enter the circle to enforce the law. Captain Dan Savarese said he'd seen fights, narcotics, domestics, and child neglect cases. At one point, he said the department brought in outside agencies to deal with a gang problem. But
Whoa.
what what is in this toddler cannabis? Both men recorded an incident in which an officer making an arrest was punched in the head by another attendee. That officer, they said, was forced to medically retire due to his injuries and is now on disability.
Gosh.
It gets crazier. Barclay said a well-known beach cleanup volunteer had planned to lobby him in defense of the circle because it was very popular with the community, but had changed her mind after seeing people having relations in the dunes.
That's so good. That's so good. Get it under the starlight. Come on.
Oh yeah, Savarese said, well, with the constant drumming in the
With the
background,
constant drumming. Helps the rhythm, you know?
everyone needs a beat. Savarese said, a lot of times when we've made arrests, the people are screaming, "You can't tell us what to do" on the beach, so we're asking for direction. We can absolutely come up with a plan and take care of the situation. Other panel members chimed in, one saying he'd received thousands of 911 calls, including for stolen cars, rape, you name it, all kinds of different crimes, and that gangs will also
Gee.
recruit on the beach until 4 in the morning, all while the drumming was going on. It was one by one, members of the police department and the city commission, which is like local government, agreed that the circle should be dispersed unless someone could get a permit, insurance, and pay for police security.
Hang on, hang on. If all you need is a permit to get through with the whole drum circle gang rape kind of
We'll
thing,
have the
that's
gang
pretty
rape.
crazy.
One gang rape permit, please. No, I know there was gangs and there was rape, but the gang rape is only alleged. Can't put the two together.
Okay.
There was breaking and there was entering, but you breaking and entering, I don't
Okay.
know.
Not necessarily breaking and entering. I'm with you.
So, where did this circle come from? In 2001, Christine Marie Loving, an energy healer, most nominative determinism I've ever heard, teamed up with a belly dancer named Johanna Zenobia Taylor. Again,
The Taylor comes out of nowhere there, but
yeah, yeah, it's really an anticlimactic name that. They gathered dancers and a band and put up posters. Loving wanted people to be fully self-expressed in their authenticity and their essence without drugs and alcohol. How's that one going? Um,
hey,
Christine Marie Loving, incidentally, works for a company called Higher Self Massage.
that's awful. You can't put he in the script. That's
Oh yeah. Christopher Sparta, amazing name, the journalist who wrote this article in the Tampa Bay Times that alerted me to this story, tweeted that police had called the circle a hotbed of crime. And there's a single comment underneath that reads, yeah, hotbed for fucking weirdos. But the
oh, it sounds like a
circle,
new sensation meetup.
yeah. Yeah, what, a one comment. A circle have built up a lot of aura. So locals routinely take people there to show them something they've never seen before. And despite not being an official event, it's routinely made it onto tourist websites under things to do,
That
which
should not be a thing to do on a tourist site.
this really pissed off the panel. Oh, you should have seen them. I mean, I would say I'll link the board meeting in the show notes, but nobody's watching that. Right after you do your research into printer metadata, you can watch the Treasure
Yeah.
Island City Commission board meeting.
Things to do. Go to the Treasure Island City Commission board.
But the circle, Matty, it wasn't all weirdos. One young woman, Natalie, stood out from the rest when she stood up for the circle at the council meeting, choking back tears and telling the commission that the circle was her home, family, and church. One drummer from
Oh,
the
it's all a bit
circle.
Wicker Man. It's all a bit Wicker Man.
It is. One drummer from the circle, a high school teacher named Desiree Garcia, decided that she could do something to help by setting some ground rules for the circle. So she basically turned into a narc. She brought a megaphone and walked around the circle asking people not to smoke in case the police shut them down. The circle's a little smaller now, Matty, but at least the police are happy. Well, most of the drummers are happy too, apart from 6'8", 300-pound Duncan Small, who is, is well named, who
What's
is
what's what's the opposite of nominative predeterminism? What's the sort of
yeah.
like?
It's like, oh, I don't know. The word is because there's like an autonym, which is a word that describes itself. An
Yeah.
anti-autonym? I don't know. Um, I'll research that after the printer metadata. But Duncan Small is currently in jail. He's a Treasure Island resident who's been accused of delivering letters to city commissioners' homes reading, "We know where you all live. Quit fucking with the drum circle."
That's insane.
But Matty, this story, much like people's relations in the dunes, has a happy ending because
Okay.
now police in their SUVs sit in the car park watching the circle as the drummers play.
This feels like it would make such a great horror B movie. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Where
I
it's
think
like
so.
Treasure Island, as there's a town plagued by mysterious happenings from the drum circle, and there's one police officer who's just trying to turn people's attention towards it, or where the town gets more and more involved in the circle, and it's all eventually resolved by a high school teacher just telling people to calm down.
I think this would be great for Hollywood because if you, I was about to say if you've seen the board meeting, I don't think anybody but me and the people who are at the meeting have seen the board meeting. But they honestly all kind of have a bit of film star quality about them. I think it's the kind of the combination of like being in the sun and on the beach all the time, being really tanned. I mean, John the mayor is the most jacked mayor I've ever seen. He he makes Andy Burnham look like a
I want to see
pipsqueak.
John the Mayor fight Duncan Small.
Oh yeah, I would pay to see that, Matty.
Meet me on the dunes.
Well, at least it'll end well. We know how things end in the dunes.
So true.
And if you'd like to see John fight Duncan Small, then we might have a short clip of it on we probably won't on our Instagram at News Sensation, or you can check us out on TikTok at News Sensation Pod.
Or if you have your own stories you want to share with us, perhaps some more recordings of exciting board meetings with jacked mayors, you can send it to newssensationpod@gmail.com.
If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening or watching on Spotify, please do hit that follow button, that subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. Get us to 100 likes, and what did we say we'd do?
We released a trial episode.
We'll release the trial episode if you get us to 100 likes.
Release the trial episode.
And next week we will be back in the same place, no?
Yes, we're gonna have to discuss this in our own time because I'm going away again, but we'll fit it
Yes, sir. Well,
in.
we will always find a way to bring some crazy news to you. But for now, I've been Chris Patel,
He's been Chris Patel.
and I've been Matty Curry, and Godspeed, everyone. Godspeed.
Godspeed.